Madam Namonga, your tutor. So today I'll be showing you how to solve simultaneous equations. So there are basically a lot of methods that you can use to solve simultaneous equations, but in this video we'll focus on two methods, which are elimination and the substitution methods. So how do you pick which method to use for a particular question? So start with elimination. So let's look at question 1. Use elimination method when you have a variable with the same coefficients in both equations. So a variable is a letter from the alphabet and a coefficient is a number written before a variable. So what do I mean? If the number written before y is 2 in equation 1, meaning the number should be 2 as well for y in equation 2. For example, in example 1 and 2, my coefficient of y is 2, same as here it's 2. So here I can use elimination method. Same here, you have 2 and a 2. But then, when you have equations that have varying coefficients, like example 3 and 4, here you have to go for substitution methods. Okay? So let's start with the elimination method. Let's solve example 1. Remember, since it has the same coefficient for variable y, we use elimination. So we have 4x plus 2y equals 6, and then we have x minus 2y is equal to 9. To eliminate simply means to get rid of something. So here you have positive 2 as a coefficient, here you have negative y. You put either minus or plus, that will give you a 0 for this. So what sign can I put here to get rid of the y? That will be a plus. So that 2y, positive by negative, that will be negative. So 2 minus 2, 0. So I've gotten rid of my y. So now I'll have, from equation 1, it will be 4x plus this x here. Remember, this has been eliminated, is equal to 6 plus and then 9 here. Okay. So what is 4x plus x? That will give me 5x is equal to 6 plus 9. That will give me a 15. To find the value of x, you divide by the coefficient on both sides of the equation. You cancel, and then x will be 5 into 15. That will give you a 3. You found the first value of the variable. So when you find one value of any variable, whether x or y, you go back to your original equations. You pick either equation 1 or 2 and substitute the value found in any of the picked equations. So let's use equation 2. So if I use equation 2, which is this one, I have x minus 2y is equal to 9. I found the value of x. So where there is x, I'll put 3. But when I'm substituting, I'll put my 3 in brackets. So minus 2y equals 9. Okay, let's continue from here. So I'll have 3 minus 2y equals 9. Okay, so let's group the like terms together. So it will be negative 2y is equal to 9. This here is positive. When it crosses there, it will be negative. So negative 2y is equal to 9 minus 3, that is 6. Then you divide by the coefficient on both sides of the equation. Cancel there. Okay, so we found the values of the variables. Y is negative 3 and x is positive 3. So when you find your values, you have to check, you ensure that they are correct. So how do you do that? You go to your original equations. You pick either equation 1 or 2. So I'll pick equation 2. So equation 2 is x minus 2y equals 9. So you substitute the values of x and y and ensure that the answer on your left should be 9, equivalent to the answer that's already here. So let's do that. X is 3 minus 2, negative 3 equals 9. So 3, negative by negative, positive. So what is 3 plus 6? So 9 equals 9. So because the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, meaning our values are correct. But if you find 3 equals 9, meaning your answer is what? Wrong. Okay? Let's move on to example number 2. So example number 2, again, we use elimination method. Why? Because y has a coefficient of 2 in equation 1 and also in equation what? 2. So example number 2, 3x plus 2y is equal to 10. 5x minus 2y is equal to 22. Remember, for the variable you're eliminating, you're going to put a sign here such that when you add or subtract these numbers, you get a 0. So if this is positive and this is negative, what sign are you going to put here to get rid of y? That will be a plus. So that when you say positive by negative, negative. 2 minus 2, 0. Okay. So now you add equation 1 and equation 2. So it will be 3x from equation 1 plus 5x from equation 2 equals 10 plus 22. Okay. So what is 3x plus 5x? That will give me 8x is equal to 10 plus 22. That will give me a 32. To get the value of x, you divide by 8 on both sides. So 8 into 32, that will give me a 4. So found one variable of x, which is a 4. So when you find one variable, you go back to any of your equations, either equation 1 or 2. Let me pick equation 1 this time. So equation 1 is 3x plus 2y is equal to 10. Where there's x, you substitute x, that's the value found. So x3, remember to always put your value in brackets when you're substituting. 2y equals 10. Okay, 3 by 4, that will give you a 12 plus 2y equals 10. Here we group the like terms together. So 2y, terms with variables, I prefer them on the left hand side. 10, 12 here is positive, here to be negative. 2y is equal to 10 minus 12. Different signs when you're not multiplying, you subtract and get the sign of the bigger number. So the bigger number has a negative sign. Then 12 minus 10, that will give you a 2, so negative 2. Divided by 2 on both sides, so that you get rid of this. So y is equal to 2 into 2, 1. But positive divided by negative, negative. So the value of y is negative 1. Remember, the final stage is to verify. Though you don't have to show this as part of your answer, but you do this on a piece of paper to ensure that your values of x and y are correct. So you pick any of the equations. Let me use equation 1 to verify. You write it. Then you substitute your values, the values you found. So 3x is 4 plus 2, y is negative 1 equals 10. This by this, that will give me a 12. Positive by negative, negative 2 is equal to 10. 12 minus 2, 10 equals 10. Meaning my values are correct. Okay. So let's move on to example number 3. Okay, you can see example number 3 there. So number 3, x minus 2y is equal to 1. And then we have 2x minus 3y is equal to 4. So can you use substitution here? The answer is no, because the variables don't have matching coefficients. Here the coefficient is 1, here it's 2, there it's negative 2, it's negative 3, so they are different. Hence you use the substitution method. How do you use the substitution method? Use the substitution method by making one variable the subject of the formula. So you pick a variable that has a coefficient of 1. So in this case it will be equation 1. So equation 1, you check x there has a coefficient of 1. So you label your equations. For substitution method, you always label your equations. To be equation 2. Then you make x the subject of the formula here to be x is equal to 1. This is negative. When it comes here to be positive, this will be equation 3. So remember, the first step, you label equations, equation 1, equation 2. Then you make equation 3 from an equation that has a variable with a coefficient of 1. In this case, it's equation 1. So from the two equations, we had 1 and 2, I used 1, meaning 2 hasn't been used. So you're going to substitute 3 into 2, the unused equation. So where there's x, what are you putting? 1 plus 2y. So it will be 2, open brackets, 1 plus 2y minus 3y is equal to 4. Let's expand this. How do you expand? You multiply this number by the first number. again this number by the last number. So it will be 2 multiplied by 1 plus 2 multiplied by 2y minus 3y is equal to 4. 2 by 1, 2. 2 by 2y, 4y minus 3y equals 4. Let's group the like terms. This will shift to the right. And when a number crosses the equal sign, it changes from positive to negative and vice versa. So have 4y minus 3y is equal to 4 minus 2. 4 minus 3, that will give you 1. So you can't write 1y. You don't write 1 as a coefficient. You say y is equal to 4 minus 2. That's a 2. So you found the first value of a variable, which is y is equal to 2. When you find the value, you go to equation 3 or any of the equations and substitute. But it will be easier to use equation 3 because x is already the subject. So using equation 3, we're going to say x is equal to 1 plus 2y. Okay? So x is equal to 1 plus, where there is y, you put what? 2. X is equal to 1 plus 2 by 2, 4. So what is 1 plus 4? That will give us 5. So x is equal to 5. We now have the values of x and y. So what do? You verify somewhere else. This is not required in the exam, but it is required of you to do this so that you ensure that your answers are correct. So you can use any equations. I'll use equation 1. X minus 2y is equal to 1. So where there is x, I'll put 5 minus 2. Where there is y, I put 2. Because 1, 5, 2, negative 2 by 2, that's minus 4 is equal to 1. So 5 minus 4, 1 equals 1. So since my values on the left and right are correct, are matching, meaning my answers are correct. Okay, let's move on to the last part, example number 4. Example number 4 is solve the simultaneous equations 4x plus 2y equals 6, x minus 2y equals 9. Okay, so this, what are you going to use here? You're going to use what? Elimination, because here you can use elimination or substitution rather. If you want to use elimination, you can use it because the coefficient of y here is 2. Same as here, it's 2. But I want us to use elimination method. Substitution method. So remember, substitution method, what you have to do is you label your equations. So this will be equation 1. If you want, you can use letters A, B, C, D. Then you pick an equation that has a variable with a coefficient of 1. So in this case, it's this equation here. X has a coefficient of 1. So you make x the subject. So x is equal to 9. This is negative here to be positive. That will be equation 3. You substitute 3 in the equation you don't use. So we didn't use equation 1. So substitute 3 into 1. So equation 1 is 4x plus 2y equals 6. So where there is x, we put 9 plus 2y. So it will be 4, open brackets, 9 plus 2y. 9 plus 2y, and then again plus this 2y is equal to 6. Okay, then we expand. How do we expand? The number outside multiplied by the first number, also the same number multiplied by the last number. 4 plus 9 plus 4 by 9 plus 4 multiplied by 2y is plus 2y again is equal to 6. So what is 4 by 9? That will give us 36 plus 4 by 2y, 8y plus 2y is equal to 6. Okay, so we group the like terms together. It will be 8y plus 2y is equal to 6 minus 36. So 8 plus 2, that will give us a 10y is equal to 6 minus 36, negative 30. Okay, so you divide by the coefficient on both sides. So y is equal to 10 into negative 30, negative 3. Okay, then now you use equation 3 or any of the equations to find the value of x. But since x is already the subject of the formula here, I'll use equation 3 to find x. Using equation 3, x is equal to 9 plus 2y. So where there is y, I'll put what? Negative 3. So x is equal to 9 plus 2, negative 3. Okay, so x is equal to 9, positive by negative, negative. 2 by 3, 6. So x is equal to 9 minus 6, that will give you a 3. Okay, remember we had already solved this question using elimination method, and these are the same answers we got, so there will be no need to verify this question. Thank you for watching this video. I'll send work on this from past paper questions. See you in the next video.